So you see, I think for me now, the most important thing is not to sour my art by being a sensei, yeah, and always keep humble, not sour my life by being a celebrity, let's say, but so everything that is too much can not can will sour, and it happens very quickly, and you can destroy a lifetime of work because of ego and because of closed-minded, and because of you're not because of the fact that people forget to be humble, yeah. and and so we live in a very, I think, the spirit of the time is very, very dangerous, yeah? Because young people, they don't go to martial arts nowadays to become like Shinjo Sensei or to become like me or to become humble. They go because they want the Bugatti and the Rolexes, and they want the girls, and they want to fight in Vegas, and they want to be, and there is no honor between the fighters anymore, because it is show business. Show business, you have to give them something to, for the crowds, yeah. So they talk shit to each other, and they give each other the eye, and everybody is riled up. And I'm looking and I'm saying, this is very bad. Yeah, this is very, very bad for martial arts, and martial arts are becoming more and more scarce because of this. Because even good dojos nowadays, they cannot, if they want to survive, they have to, I think, in some way, they have to embrace those parts of martial arts today, and this is very poisonous. So
Yeah, you raise interesting points, and I was thinking about, for me, my introduction to martial arts was with military men. Kyokushinkai karate and judo were the arts that I started, and both of the teachers I had in those arts were militaristic men who had worked, who had seen action, and so had what I would call a murderous intent. It wasn't zanshin, it was anger.
yeah,
And so we were always rated on, it was a kind of a pecking order in the dojo. You had to try and be the strongest, the fastest, and the fittest. You had to be able to, not only win the fight, but you had to look good doing it. There
yeah,
was all these kind of really crazy, crazy kind of values. And for me, when I first started Okinawan Goju when I was about 10, Goju for me spoke to me because, when you're talking about the transformative aspect of martial arts, the idea that Go and Ju, as the hard and the yielding, are opposite. Some people think they're opposite principles. I think the goal is to be both at the same time. We
yeah,
always go, this technique, when we do this technique is Go, and when we do this block is Ju. But I think for me, when I was in Okinawa last year in November for the month, I was able to train with Katsuhiko Shinzato Sensei, and who's a Shorin-ryu practitioner. Now, I've only ever really done Goju-ryu. I wasn't familiar with Shorin-ryu. I had an opportunity to train with James Sensei, Arakake Sensei, which was amazing.
yeah.
With Shinzato Sensei, the thing that was amazing to me as a Goju-ryu practitioner was that he seemed to be able to inhabit both Go and Ju at the same time. And
Right.
he's an elderly gentleman who was throwing me through walls, who had such a command of his body and clearly his mind and his intellect. When you were talking before about inhabiting a role, being able to go to a dark place in yourself, I think that we're foolish if we don't look at karate and realize that part of it, and you put it really beautifully with the dancing demon metaphor, I think it was brilliant, is that we must sometimes embrace the shadow that we all have.
Oh, of course, yeah, 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 yeah. Because if you don't, it will embrace you. Yeah. And people that are running from their shadow, they're not running; they're casting it on other people. And when you are casting your shadow, you are just causing harm to the world. Yeah. And the most important thing is to recognize within yourself the shadow figure and control it. And you find out when you recognize it, you find out that he can be your best friend. And if you don't recognize it, you will find that he is your worst enemy. You and your environment's worst enemy. And of course, talking about the soft and hard, it is the same thing. Those things, they are two sides of the same coin. These are qualities, yeah? And we talked about the four pillars, yeah, in your culture. Yeah? So you see, even in Christianity, so we spoke about the Trinity. Yeah? So God, people, and Buddha. Yeah? So in Christianity, we have God, you have Jesus, and you have the Holy Spirit. Yeah. So in esotericism, Jewish and Christians, and even in karate, you always find the archetype of the number 4. Yeah. Because pairs of opposites, they come in with qualities also. Yeah, let's say hot and cold. So hot and cold can be dry and wet, yeah? Also. So it's not only the opposite, it's pairs of opposites. They come with qualities and and the thing. So let's say in martial arts, in Christianity, they say Maria. Yeah. So like, in Jewish mysticism, we call her Shechina, Shekinah, because this is the feminine side. This is the fourth. Yeah. And there is a sentence where, in esotericism, where you see the third, the fourth will follow. There's always has to be a fourth figure, because the fourth is a perfect number. It makes it into like 2 and 2, makes it into like a square. Okay, so this is the process of squaring the circle. The circle with all the katas from Weichiryu and more. I think in all karate, always, if you notice, they start with from the circle. Yeah, either you're doing a circle with your body or you're standing in a circle with your mind. So all katas start from a circle, and when you start doing it, you are going through a process of squaring this circle of let's say not speaking, but performing this circle in different ways. Yeah, but those ways are squared, yeah, squared or triangle, or so it's all different ways of describing a circle, so to speak, kata. So, but the circle is the same circle, yeah, it's just a circle.
Yeah, it's it's interesting with kata. When you were saying before about the unfortunate situation with your student who went who chose to walk the UFC path. And I think that life is a circle, and I think people come to different stages, and
Yeah.
I think inevitably they come back to the place that they've started. And I think sometimes people are put in front of us to teach us something about ourselves. For me, one of the things that I had to learn, and I'm not preaching to you at all, I'm just a realization I had, was about ownership and about attachment. Like the idea that I'm looking for someone to belong to, a father figure, a mother figure, a wife, or whoever. And that until I belong to myself, I can't belong to anything else. And I think that's one thing I love about karate. Right from the beginning, I love that it was this thing that I could do anywhere in terms of training. And I think in the beginning, I didn't realize what I was doing. But as you said, I think you put it really beautifully. My daily prayer, my daily ritual is karate. And this is my dojo here, and it's at home. And I think when I started, I wanted power over the violence that was around me. I wanted power over my life. I wanted power over the people. Now, at 52, I want to be a good father. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good friend, a brother, a son, a student, an instructor, someone who's of value to the community, but not in the way that you walk around grandstanding. Just that's why I call this podcast The Invisible Sensei, because I think the work of all sensei is done in a way that most people don't see. most martial artists, they do it in a way, and it's certainly the ones that I respect. They do it in a way that you don't see. They work, they do it when there's no one there to watch, and they just do the work. They're in their writing blogs, they're training, they're getting up, they're going to the beach, they're doing their 3 sunshin, then doing their 3 immersions and all those sort of things as you do.
Yeah.
So if I can ask you this, there are so many things that I've wanted to talk to you about, and I hope that we find some time again to have this conversation, because I've enjoyed it so very
It
much.
is a pleasure talking to you, my brother. You are amazing, I
Oh,
think.
thank you, Sensei. Well, I guess what I want to ask in terms of the kind of martial artist that you want to be from now until the day you have to fold up your gear and go to the next place.
Oh yeah,
Who do
I've
you
got a
want to
good
be?
question.
Mm,
I got a very good question for you.
mm,
So I think it changed so much, so many times. Yeah? But always I had this image of what I wanted to be like when I'm older. Yeah, and I always see the same image of having a small dojo with many children. Small children. Yeah, and I'm sitting there. I'm an old guy with maybe a white beard. Yeah, but and I'm helping them to put on the gi and with the belt and stuff. So this is, I think, this is weird to say, yeah, because I so many dreams I have for myself and things that I still want to accomplish, yeah. But I think I'm certain that once I will maybe accomplish those things, the the ultimate goal and the thing that will make me most happy is knowing that I built up a life where I can just sit in the dojo, receive students, young kids. Yeah, do not charge any money, just teach them. Yeah, and help them and be like create something for the community, for the kids that they can grow up in, that they can learn the real way of karate, and which is not kicks and punches. This is something more. And I have this image in my head for years now, yeah? And I still, it doesn't matter how much my goals in life changes. Still, I know that for me this will be the point of ultimate happiness, is being that old guy sitting in a small dojo, like accepting young kids, helping them with the gi, helping them with the belt, teaching them how to do karate. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I've seen in Okinawa many times with many teachers, and something that really like create. I don't know. I just became like this. I think just this dream. I resonated with it, and it created who I am now. I've seen Shinjo Sensei like this. Yeah, because he's Shinjo Sensei. Yeah, and he's very busy, seminars worldwide. Like always making movies about him, History Channel, National Geographic Channel. But still, he teaches all the kids classes. Always, he never misses one class. And like when many times, even now when I was there, it makes me admire him even more because he can easily say, like, okay, you teach, take one of the senior students, which is, I mean, the students are amazing by themselves. They can easily be a sensei of their own dojos. Yeah? So of course they can teach kids, yeah? But no, he's doing it. And I can see that sometimes he's tired, after a day of work, and I can see that he's got things that's going on. Let's say last time I was there, Tanahara Sensei, Seisho Tanahara, he died, yeah? And he was Shinjo Sensei's best friend for years, and it happened the same day that I had the Rokudan test, and but still he came there and he tested me. And before that, he did the kids class before my test. Yeah, so he taught the kid class. He did everything without changing nothing. Yeah, it was like you look at it and you say, okay, like your best friend just died, yeah? And I know you were busy, probably in the hospital, and I think those kids that they will understand if somebody will replace you one day, like one of the students. I don't think they even mind, and in fact, maybe they will even be happy because it's not a fun ride, to be in a to be taught by Shinjo Sensei. It's very very tough. Yeah? And I remember when I was learning there regularly, those days that maybe he was in a seminar abroad or whatever, and then somebody would exchange him. I'm like, whew, we are going on a vacation. It's fun. It will be fun. And so, but no, he's still doing it. He's going. He's coming. He's putting on the gi, and he teaches them, and he doesn't. He does not round any corners. He's just doing it. And for me, this is most important. This is most amazing to see. This, when I talk to you now, I feel it in my throat. I'm like, what an amazing person he is, because he's really an artist. He's really doing it, you know, the way it should be done.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. I think that we were talking about Kizuna before and those sort of things. What I want to do is maybe give you an opportunity to, if you're talking, if there's some young kid out there who's young boy, young girl who's looking for something in their life, and they have an opportunity to do something like karate as you did, what would you have to say to those kids to encourage them?
It's a very good question. I would say don't be like everyone else. This is what I would say. Yeah. I would say look for that one teacher that that the feeling you get when you're around him is that you can become whatever you imagine, whatever you want to be, and just block everything else. Just be there and let yourself grow. Because I always thought about it. That my wife's family, they have a Picasso painting on the wall, and Picasso is an amazing artist. And sometimes I look at this picture and I'm saying, this picture could only be made by Picasso, yeah? Just because who he is. And so when you are going to a teacher, he is an artist by his own right. Yeah, he's an artist. So after a few years that will pass, what will become of you if you are the work of his art? Yeah. I mean, if you have if you have a good artist, then you will become like this painting. You will become a good work of art, yeah? And then from there you can really grow. You can really do whatever you feel, whatever you will become whatever is natural for you. Yeah? And in those regards, maybe the students that went on to be a UFC fighter, it is not a coincidence. I think that the only one from Israel is my student that went there to the UFC. Probably is the best in Israel in MMA. But he came from this line of thought, from the Shinjo Sensei line of thought, from Uechi Ryu line of thought. This is something that you can never take from him. Yeah? He can never change this. He can never change this past. And this past, when he came to me, he was a very problematic kid. He was a drug addict, and he was a criminal. And he just once he joined the dojo, then every day for 10 years, every day he came to the dojo, every day, because I could see him grow. Yeah? And even if he didn't have training himself, he would just come there and hang out with me, with the kids, with the dojo, and I watched him turn into a man, and eventually he grew, and he chose his way, but he had a possibility of growing into something. Okay, so I would say to this kid, you find some teacher, and you respect him, and no matter what, you respect him, because the world is like this. When you respect the teacher, it is almost mystical. The art respects you, and you become something. Shinjo Sensei always said to me, like, a martial arts is like a fish. The teacher is the head, and the student is the tail. And the fish cannot just be the head, and the student cannot just be the tail. It goes together. The student has to push the teacher also. He has to promote the teacher and push him forward. Not just take. But the teacher, he needs to see the way. He needs to, and this is something that I think many people forgot. They talk about martial arts. They say, okay, I pay him $100 a month. I go to the dojo. If I get hurt, I will sue him. He's a service giver. He's not really somebody that is like a spiritual authority. So I would say to this kid, don't be that like look at this teacher as somebody sent from God, that can help you become who you are really. This is it. This is the best advice I can give. Because even when I was a kid, I started with to say the least, he was not a good person. But my first teacher, he was a convicted sexual offender, and he was an inflated kind of guy. We talked about ego, and like, I'm the master. I am kind of like trying to become a cult leader. And I was a kid. When I was studied, maybe I was 10 or 11. So, but I spent a few years with him. And of course, he ended up in jail, and we are not talking. We don't have any communication between us anymore. And he didn't even do karate. He just invented something out of his mind. He called it some Israeli martial art with like a weird name, and he said, I am the master of it and stuff. And now when I look at it, of course, he did not teach me anything. Just I can look at it and say I wasted up my youth. I wasted up the years that but it's not true. It's not, because just the fact of being there with them, not with them, just in the dojo, coming there and being around Budo, any kind of Budo, created for me something that is a root that will eventually it grew, and nobody can stop it. So eventually, when he got in jail, you're not just you stopping, because you already have this feeling inside the Budo, so you look for more. You look for the bigger things. So I was looking for his teacher, or who he said was his teacher. So I contacted his allegedly teacher. He was in America. Of course, I learned later that he was never a student of him, and he was just saying it. But oddly enough, I became his student, and I came and I went to America, and I became what he fantasized of being. He said to everyone, I studied with this guy and stuff. But eventually, because he designed my mind, so I went to America for 5 years to become him. And then I got it. So I've this teacher from America. He also, he got sick, and he was about to die. And I said, where did you study? And he said, I studied in Okinawa, in a village called Shuri. So once he said it, that settled it. One day I was supposed to be in Okinawa. So after he died, No, well, not after he died. Actually, a few years before he died, he couldn't teach anymore. I went to Okinawa to become him. Yeah. And of course, when I got to Okinawa, I found out that he never went to Okinawa. It was just a fantasy that he made. So my first teachers, they were very complicated person, but I don't have any anger about them. I don't say I wasted my time or they were a con artist. I don't. I say thank you for them to present me this idea of a person that will go all the way to Okinawa to learn the real art. And eventually, even if you didn't do it, just planting this idea in my head brought me a lot of joy in my life because I ended up doing it, and my students ended up doing it, and my students ended up being in the UFC or the Olympics or whatever, and it's worldwide. It's not only in Israel now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is
Well,
the opposites. Yeah, the
yeah,
opposites. The lie becomes the truth.
well, it's interesting, like it's the student becomes the teacher. It's very Star Wars. When last we met,
Yeah,
I was the student. Now I am the master, and I think that you know that's the problem is as we were talking about, when if you don't possess yourself and you don't possess your dream, it's like throwing darts in the dark, a dartboard in the dark. You can't hit things you can't see, and I think at a certain point we need we it's hard to be something you can't see. If you have like a jigsaw puzzle, but you don't have the box, you don't know what the picture is, so you have to try and just work your best to try and guess. You have no idea. And I
yeah,
think sometimes we have to accept the fact that the people who gave us the jigsaw, that gave us the puzzle, they didn't know either. And I think
yeah,
your journey, um, your journey is literally like what we read in the books. I mean, going to Shinjo Sensei, going all the way to Okinawa, not really knowing anyone, going to the door, being rejected, going away, calling up your family, and your family going, well, you've gone all that way. And so you go back, rejected again, and then you're rejected and rejected. And then something changed. And it's kind of set you on this sort of
yeah. But
incredible path.
even big people like Shinjo
Mm.
Sensei, right? It shows you a lot about the mystical thinking, because Shinjo Sensei, if you look at his car, then you will see that his license plate number is 333, like something
Yeah,
3 times 3.
numerical.
And,
Mm.
I looked at it and I asked him, he said, yeah, it was a complete accident,
Mm.
but this is something for me, he said. Yeah?
Mm.
He's not taking it as an accident. He's taking it as a sign for something. And he did not accept me. But when I arrived to him in the third time, so he said, okay, third time, I will accept you. Yeah.
Mm.
And so there is like always in karate, there is like a hidden meaning
Mm.
to that you cannot speak about, you cannot explain, and nobody will talk about it, especially not the high-ranking masters. Yeah,
Mm.
but they definitely it's something that resonates with them because there is a truth to it. There is something to it because martial arts is karate, budo is not parts of it you cannot talk about. You cannot
Mm.
describe with words. There's something in it that is that we have this in Weichiri. We had this.
Mm.
It is
Mm.
called closing of the lion's mouth. Yeah,
Mm.
and you can
Moshuke?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
and you can see this gesture, this hand gesture. You can
Mm.
see it in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. You can see it in ancient tarot. Yeah,
Mm.
and when you find out what the meaning of this gesture of closing the lion's mouth is exactly this. It means that you are an initiate and you are initiating into an art that you cannot speak about by the mouth.
Ah.
So therefore, you are closing the mouth of the lion or the tiger. You are controlling them, but with no words. You are starting to realize and understand something that is impossible to describe, but it is only feeling, only you can feel. So this is very prevalent in Wei Qi in katas, in those katas, because Wei Qi is a very Chinese influenced style, yeah, and the Chinese influenced style is very, is very Indian influenced style. And Indian influenced styles are very Mesopotamian styles, yeah, and Mesopotamia is, this is all the way that it made to become in Okinawan karate. But those images of closing the lion's mouth is something that is still, you can still find it it is a certain truth of the style. And actually, when you start doing those katas 3 times, kind of like, 3 times kata, 3 times kata, 3 times kata, when you do it in this 3 times, 3 times, 3 times, Sanchin, it's 3 steps, 4 punches. We talked about the 3 and the 4. When you do it long enough, it changes the magnetism of the body. And you actually, you will experience very weird things in your life that will draw you closer and closer to this art. I know what I'm saying is weird, and nobody will probably say it to you, but this is the truth, for me at least. It is actually like the reality is changing sometimes. You say if you start doing it the right way, eventually you will get to be a master, even if all odds are against you. Even if all our odds are against you, if you need to be in Okinawa, you will be in Okinawa. And if you need to study this thing from this master, you will study this. I'll tell you this. When I was living there, they have this gathering of teachers, 10 very prolific teachers, the best of all styles. Motobu Ryu, Shorin Ryu, Matsubashi Ryu, Goju Ryu, Uechi Ryu. And every month they are meeting. It is a secret meeting. Now it's no longer secret because I said, but it was.
Yeah.
But they are meeting and they are exchanging knowledge, between them. But the thing is that they will not demonstrate on each other. So they used to bring me there, and I was the dummy. And from every style, everybody they would demonstrate on me, and then they would practice it together. Usually nighttime, and every evening it was a different dojo. Yeah. So I got the opportunity to really feel a lot of styles, a lot of teachers in a lot of dojos, and just being that person kind of created intimacy between me and many teachers that I was just a young boy, but they looked at me in a different way because they kind of opened up to me and we talked a lot, and sometimes they would invite me to a lunch or whatever. So we became more than just students and teachers. We became something of was kind of like a spy in a way.
Yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah. So they are all, if there is something that I can say that everybody that can tie them together is their belief of a higher power, of that karate is something very sacred, and is something that almost like the Busaganashi, like the entity of Goju-ryu, kind of like a god. There is always a god. It is almost like the work of God, the Buddha. And this God communicates with you. It communicates with you. And you can say that this God is just the collective unconscious. And when you're bowing to the Kamidana, you have this mirror where you see yourself. You're bowing into your higher self. But this is the same. What's to say that God is not the collective unconscious of the world? So this does not explain it to be false. I think it is even explains it to be correct, because I don't care what this power is. Once you give yourself into this power, and once you believe in it, once you practice it, and wholeheartedly, then it connects with you, it communicates with you, sometimes through numbers, So let's say it is not an accident that Shinjo Sensei's plate number is 333. Yeah? It's not an accident that my name is in Hebrew, it means 18 or 108. And this is like the lost kata, and this is something that is very passionate for me, and nothing, and that my phone number, that we have gematria, yeah. So gematria is kind of like you assign every number, you assign a letter to, yeah, with the equal meaning, yeah.
Yep.
So my phone number is, I don't know, was always like 81, 80 and stuff. And first time I got my license from Shinjo Sensei was 81. And you can always see this kind of like coincidences that you're saying, no, it's not can't be a coincidence. Yeah. You don't need to take it more than it is. Yeah. Because not just saying that you are on the right track and you are where you need to be, and just keep doing it. Yeah? Keep doing it, because the art talks to you always.
Yeah. I think the thing is over the years, getting to a point where you can train yourself to hear it, because it's all about a conversation. And I think at a certain level, it becomes a conversation with yourself ultimately. And that's why I liked at the beginning of our conversation, you talked about the idea that it's a daily prayer. And I like that. I'm going to try the three. I'm going to try the three.
Yeah,
For me,
try it. You will see miracles, man. I'm telling you, really, really. This is not by chance that like we are doing this in the dojo three times, three katas, three times each kata. And this is amazing, the results that it gives you.
It's it's one of the things I've really enjoyed about this conversation is that the depth to which you go, but also it's very hard to debate experience.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah,
hard to
and
sort of
it's
that,
really
because
hard.
you've lived, you've walked that whole path. You've gone where most people are scared to. You've gone to a place where you don't know if you're going to get accepted.
Yeah.
And worst of all, you haven't accepted the rejection. You've gone back in humility. And I think you were saying before how about people and they think it's weird and so on and so forth. But I also think that we each have a journey to walk. And I think that if we close our mind, if we don't open ourselves to experience, and we don't have these sorts of conversations, I know for me, I'm going to go away and I know I'm going to replay, hopefully not my voice. I'm going to do a version where I don't talk at all. But just the
No,
things
you
that
should.
we've.
I think this is a very good conversation because of the two of us. This is what I think.
Yeah, I just want to thank you. I'm going to grab you for a few minutes after we finish recording. But I just want to say it's been an absolute treat to have you on the podcast. And look, if at any time you want to come back on, although I may not be able to, when you go to the academies and so on, I may not be able to afford you. I might have to
No,
get I might have to get a photo
what,
next to you and
what,
I
what do
know
you
you.
mean? I didn't understand what you were saying. What do you mean?
When when you kind of go to Hollywood and these things, maybe,
I
but
don't.
I
I
have
don't have. I don't have any Hollywood dreams, my brother.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I would probably we would meet at one point. I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm very
I'm
keen.
sure.
It'd be an honor. It'd be an honor to have you on this floor here. And what I can
Yeah.
do is I can make sure that I say this to my very close friends, that I will I will go and speak to one of our shamans about getting something for you to remember your time here.
Yeah. It
Mm,
will definitely be a great honor for
mm,
me. I actually collect tattoos from many
mm,
places that I've
mm,
been. I have been in Mexico, of course, Japan. I have many tattoos from
mm,
Japan, most of them. Yeah, but
mm,
also some places in Europe and United States, and like I try every place that I try to tattoo, and
mm.
every big major stop that I made in my life, I try to to put it on my body also. And yeah, the next tattoo is actually this is going to be my next tattoo. This one, this cute guy.
Wow.
And this is from Iejima. I got it on
Yeah.
the ferry when I
Wow.
was going with Shinjo Sensei,
Yeah.
and I was going with him to see the new monument of his father. Yeah? And so we went there, and I got my name is written on this monument. Is for me, it is a great honor to be part of this, of this line, the Shinjo
Mm.
line.
Mm.
So I got this, and this is the mascot, yeah, the kind of like the
Oh, I
Iejima
like it.
mascot. And we were sitting drinking coffee, and he wrote this for me, and he was just writing. And I
Mm.
said, "What are you writing? This is my diary.
Mm. Yeah.
What are you writing there, Sensei?" And uh, he said, "Budo." He said that Budo is for everyone. Yeah?
Mm.
Everyone deserves to learn Budo. This is what he said. And I said, why did you write it here? He said, I just wanted for you to always remember that Budo
Mm.
is like everyone's property. Everyone deserves to learn this art, and do whatever you can to promote it as much as possible. And of course, our conversation now is part of it.